Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk about the 5 major things that I did that I credit with my weight loss success. And not just the things that helped me to lose the weight, but also the things that helped me to maintain the weight loss. Now, as you know, I have lost 70 pounds in 9 months. I have lost a total of 90 pounds. And these 5 things are the major things, the major turning points, or the major breakthroughs, I'll say, in my weight loss journey. So let's talk about those 5 things. So the first thing that I did was I decided to count macros and I tracked my eating. And so that's kind of like a 2-for-1. But I decided that I was going to track macros because it gave me the flexibility. I didn't box myself into one specific type of eating style. I could eat at home. I could eat out if I needed to because I travel for work, and so I'm not always home. And so I decided to count macros. Now, macros are simply protein, carbs, and fats. And so I went to the TDEE calculator and I put in my information. It'll ask you for your age, it'll ask you for your weight, it'll ask you for your height, and then it'll ask you, do you want to lose weight, maintain weight, or gain weight? And so I put in that I wanted to lose weight, and it calculated for me the grams of protein, carbs, and fats, as well as the calorie count of what I needed to eat in order to lose weight to get to my goal. So I took those numbers and I went over to MyFitnessPal and I plugged them into MyFitnessPal as my goals. And then I simply just started tracking what I was eating all the time. Just whatever I ate, it went into MyFitnessPal. And I was very diligent about tracking the protein because protein keeps you fuller longer. And so as long as I was hitting that protein goal every day, I wasn't hungry, those constant hunger cues kind of went away. And sometimes I would look up and be like, oh, I didn't have a mid-morning snack. That typical mid-morning snack, I look up and it's lunchtime already. And so making sure that I was hitting that protein goal really helped to keep me full longer, and it helped to keep those hunger pains at bay. And I was able to just hit those goals every day, and it kept me in the caloric deficit. You absolutely need the caloric deficit in order to lose weight. And so just by simply going into that free calculator and plugging in my information and letting it tell me what I needed to aim for every day, and then tracking it in MyFitnessPal, was definitely one of the keys to my weight loss success. The second thing that I did was I increased my water intake. Now, I wasn't drinking nearly enough water prior to my weight loss journey, and I know that. And typically what happens when you're not drinking enough water is your body tends to store water. Any water that it gets, it will take that water from, foods and drinks, and it'll store it in your body because it doesn't know when it's going to get water again. And so I had so much inflammation in my body, which is just simply swelling, right? Because my body was storing this water because I wasn't drinking nearly enough water. But I started my weight loss journey on 75 Hard Challenge, which requires you to drink a gallon of water per day. Now, it is excessive. I don't recommend it to anyone, but I did it because I wanted to finish the challenge. But what I will tell you is that once I started drinking that water, my body started to release the water that it was holding. That inflammation subsided. You need water just for daily bodily functions, but you also need that water to flush out the excess, the waste, the toxins, the things that your body no longer needs. And if you're not taking in that water so that your body can flush those things out, then where do you think it's going? It's storing it. And so again, I was just storing this stuff everywhere, my face, in my back, in my abdomen area. Like I was just storing water and fat everywhere. And so once I started drinking this water, then my body was able to release these things, and I could tell a difference almost immediately. Now, it was a challenge for me to get in that water every day, but I did it. And I'm so glad that I did, because my body started to release the water and it started to release the fat. And so I definitely credit water intake, increasing that water intake, with my weight loss success. The third thing that I did was I cut out processed sugar. Now, I recently did an entire video on this, but the short story is I stopped eating processed sugar. The cakes, the candies, the pies, the ice cream, all those things that are good to us but not good for us. I quit them cold turkey when I started my weight loss journey. And I will tell you that I know that I had a sugar addiction. And so because I'm an all or nothing type person, the only way that I could get rid of the sugar was to just simply quit it. Now, I didn't quit all sugars. I did still eat natural sugars that were like in fruit, things like that. And I also, I was still going out to eat. Remember, I said I was just simply counting macros for the flexibility. And so, you never know what these restaurants like put in their foods when they're cooking these foods. And so I'm sure that there were some hidden sugars there as well that I was still intaking, but I wasn't eating nearly as much sugar that I was eating prior to the start of my weight loss journey. And what I will tell you is that just like with the water, and this was probably the combination, I do credit this with the combination of the water. As soon as I cut out that sugar and I was drinking the water that was flushing out the little bit of sugar that I was eating, like I said, that inflammation started to go down and I really started to release the fat. I have never been diagnosed as being insulin resistant, but I do believe that I either was or I was close to it, because before I cut out the processed sugar and I was still eating sugar every day, but thinking I was in a caloric deficit, so why can't I lose weight? I would lose and then regain the same 3 to 5 pounds, and it was so frustrating. But once I cut the sugar, like completely cut out that processed sugar, and now I'm drinking, more water to flush out the little sugar that I am eating, the weight started to release. My body, it was like somebody turned on the fire in my body, and my body turned into this fat burning machine, and the weight just started to release. And so cutting out that processed sugar was absolutely clutch in my weight loss, because it just kick-started everything. As soon as I got rid of that sugar out of my diet is when I finally started to see results. Another thing that I did was I increased my movement. Now, I started working out twice a day for 45 minutes each time. And the reason why I was doing that is because I was following the 75 hard challenge. That is one of the requirements. And for most of those workouts, I was simply just walking because it was easy. Now, prior to starting the challenge and prior to starting my weight loss journey, I was doing some running and I was doing some strength training. But once I started the 75 hard challenge, because the challenge is so hard, I tried to simplify all of the tasks to the extent possible just so I could finish the challenge. And so I just walked for most of those 2 workouts per day. And what I found was that those 2 workouts, if I walked those 2 workouts, I was getting in about 10,000 steps per day. And again, I did it because it was easy. All I needed was a good pair of walking shoes, and I could do it at home. I could do it if I was in the office. I could do it if I was on work travel. But I found that walking those for 45 minutes a day, twice a day, equated to about 10,000 steps. And I had a aha moment, like, oh my gosh, the 10,000 steps rule is real. Now, I know some people will say, that was just a marketing gimmick. That doesn't really work. And I will tell you, I don't care if it was a marketing gimmick. It does work. All it requires is movement of your body. And when I was hitting those 10,000 steps consistently, I started to lose the weight. I could tell a big difference. And so once I realized that's what that was, I was like, oh, okay, so, I don't necessarily have to do, 2 45-minute workouts per day. And this was after the challenge was over, of course. But I was like, I don't have to do the 2 45-minute workouts per day. I just need to be sure that I'm hitting 10,000 steps per day. So in my maintenance, I tried to hit 10,000 steps every day. Now, as I got to the end of the challenge, I decided that I wanted to go back to incorporating running. I wanted to go back to incorporating strength training. And so I went from, walking every day to doing walk runs, and then I slowly built up my endurance and built up my speed to where I was just simply running, but I was getting in those 10,000 steps per day, and I was getting in more because now I'm running. And when that happened, I will tell you that the weight just continued to fall off. And so the fifth thing that I did was incorporated strength training. And so between the running and the strength training, the fat just started to, it really just, my body just started to release the fat. There is a picture of me when I was at about 180 pounds, and I really liked the way that I looked. I liked the way that I looked. I didn't feel too heavy to run. I was running during that time. I had started reincorporating strength training, and I really wanted to stay right there. I wanted my body to stay right there. And of course, because I was still eating clean-ish, I was still tracking, I still wasn't eating the processed sugar, I was getting in more water, and now I'm running and strength training. My body just continued to release the weight. My body just continued to burn off the fat to the point where I am now 132 pounds. And again, I was trying to stop at about 180, and my body was just like, nope, we're just gonna keep right on going. And it continued to burn off the fat. And so the running, getting in the 10,000 plus steps per day, plus the strength training were absolutely key to my success in terms of getting to where I am now. Not only that, but with strength training, it helps your body because you're building muscle, and you need that muscle to burn fat when you're at rest. And so like right now, at rest, I burn more calories just sitting here having this conversation with you because I strength train. I was strength training 4 days per week, and I was just simply hitting the major muscle groups each day. So I would get them in once a week. And that's really all it takes is just, 4 times a week hitting those major muscle groups. And, I have been able to build muscle so that I continue to burn calories at a higher rate in a resting state than I did prior to when I wasn't strength training at all. So not only do I credit these 5 things with helping me to lose the weight, but also to maintain, because you have to continue to do the same things you did to lose the weight in order to maintain the weight loss. And so I continue to eat cleanish. I continue to track. I continue to drink more water now. I'm not drinking the gallon of water. Again, that was excessive. As soon as the challenge was over, I cut out the gallon of water, but I am certainly getting in more water now than I was prior to the start of my weight loss journey, because I recognize how important it is to my weight loss. But I'm also, running. I'm consistently running now. I train for road races, which typically requires me to run 4 days per week. And that's the reason why I train for road races, because it forces me to be consistent in my running. I am still strength training 4 days per week because it helps me to maintain my muscle mass. It helps me to continue to burn off fat. It helps me to continue to burn off the things that I am eating, and I am eating more because I'm doing all this running. And so you have to continue to do the things that you were doing to lose the weight in maintenance. And a lot of people, they'll lose the weight and then go right back to the old habits, and you really have to focus and continue to do the things that you were doing when you were in the weight loss phase. All right, so those are the top 5 things that I did to lose weight. If you have any questions about anything that I did, if you are on your own weight loss journey and you have tips, please take a moment, leave them in the comments. I would love to continue this discussion with you. I'm always in the comments answering questions, and I'm always picking up tips from you when you tell me that you're on a weight loss journey and you're doing certain things as well. So thank you for sharing. If this video has been helpful to you, please take a moment and give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, take a moment, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you here as part of our community so I can continue to make more great videos just like this, just for you. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.